escalated quickly. I mean, that really got out of hand fast.
It jumped up a notch.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to ACO, or to ACO if you've been here before. And if you have, thank you so much for keep coming back. Well, you guys, this is a big one. I have another big one coming that I'm still waiting on. But I have, along with Nanalu, who has helped me, has managed to find some actual tangible proof of age. This has been my baby for a year now, and I have brought up every other kind of proof I have known. I don't have a bunch of tools and stuff. However, everything I've brought has been with truth. So anyway, I did do a lot of research, a lot of digging, and come up with something crazy and also something in front of our faces. But anyway, that being said, I just want to get quickly to it. I do my stuff in chapter form. At the end of each chapter, I have what I call commercials, and those are anything I find funny online, parodies, skits, that kind of thing. All right, guys, let's get to it. Chapter 1. Horse Flies in-laws, a Patreon story, and of course, MSM and more lies. So real quick, I call him horsefly now instead because he's like a housefly, a horsefly, just a pain in the ass fly. And I call her Roachel and she's a roach. So that's how that came along. I decided I'm going to share a Patreon story that I've only shared on Patreon because I think now might be the best time. And I'll show you some MSM and lies. And then my second chapter, you guys, is where we're going to delve deep. But we are going to on this one as well. So let's get to it. So I saw this and I thought I'm just going to start out with this because they have it right. I said head meets nail. The press only print drama when they are paid. They are written up by PR firms and distributed to media that will print to ruffle feathers one way or another. And this is especially true when it concerns Roachel. Okay, so as you guys know, the first 20 minutes of my show, I have to be kind of tame. So I'm going to bring you some goods for sure, but it's not going to be quite as intricate as what's to come. But having said that, I also bring you guys the latest headlines from MSM because I'd be remiss not to do that. I have to, cover everything. So anyway, what has been out there is the Princeharry asked former aides to help plot return from his U.S. exile in first stage of rehabilitation strategy. Prince's friends vow to help smooth path back and dub it Operation Bring Harry In from the Cold. Well, that's very interesting. It goes on to say, a source said the friend believes if Harry comes back to the UK with zero fuss and does zero publicity and attends very mundane events, he could prove himself and win over the British public again. Y'all let me know in the comments if he can do that to you. I'm part of the Commonwealth and I know what I think. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but I did want to read the last paragraph I see. Sources stress that Harry and Meghan, who have spent the past 4 years living in self-imposed exile in California with their 2 children, are not seeking a permanent return. Really? Self-imposed exile. That is the strangest exile I've ever seen. What a crap. Do they realize what they're writing? Good grief. And then they have this, which, shocker, they've lost another key PR advisor. Well, imagine that. Christine Whale-Schrimmer, considered to be one of Silicon Valley's top publicity gurus, joined them in 2020 as head of communications for their charitable foundation, Arkwell, charged with boosting the global image of the Sussexes. She was made a senior advisor in 2021. Why would she leave such a prestigious job, pray tell? Yeah, I think we know. More crapola from MSM. Nanalu points out, Getty allowed this. Harry's lost a leg. How come Getty Images, because that's what's on there, puts this crap out? Honestly. And even if his leg was back a bit, where's his foot? Please. This is the most ridiculous crap. And they actually expect us to believe this. And then they made a big stink about that one little thing with Catherine. Give me a break. Oh, so this is going to segue now into MSM. And also, it's all going to intertwine with the Markles and Dorito. Basically, Harry's in-laws. And we're going to talk about all of them. So I wanted to start it out with this because I did this 3 months ago. And it was a poll. 1.1 thousand people voted. And I asked how old Dorito was in this photo. Was she 14, 18, or 21? 35% 14, 22% 18, 43% 21. Now, I think that number's probably changed. But as of that time, there was still the majority, 57%, that did not believe she was 21, as she stated, right? So, and I've been on, well, my most watched video was actually from 11 months ago when Trevor Colt came out with the Joshua Silverstein story, and that's where I started everything. But anyways, I will digress, and I have definitely more to show and a wild second chapter to come. But I wanted everybody to see that I've been asking this question for 3 months now, because I know, and I know then, and I know now that this is all bullshit. Okay. Here we have Daily Mail saying this is Roachel's first ever photograph. And I wrote, which one is it? I don't believe any of this shite. Never have. I never have. Who is that child? So this is her first one, says Daily Mail. And then we get this one. The first photo of Roachel. Really? Really? Which one is it then? Was it that one? Or was it this one? Is that the same child? I'd say no. I've shown you guys this photo before, put together side by side. That was supposed to be the same day they got home. Doria looks about, I don't even know if that first picture is Doria, but there are at least 6 years difference there. There's no way that's the same age Doria, nor is that the same baby. Right? Here's the thing, guys. I've been bringing all this stuff for so long now. And I've lost so many people because they think I'm a conspiracy theorist and blah, blah, blah. And that's fine. But I know I'm not. A lot of it's common sense if you really look at things. And that's what all I can bring you is common sense. I can bring you more now. I have more now. But I am a tiny channel. I just have a tablet and a phone. I don't have special tools, nothing like that. I do the best I can. I don't know how to edit. Nothing fancy. But what I can do is bring you the truth as I see it and point out what I see. Because that's all I can do. So, let's go forward. This is the same photo that I showed you months ago. Is this the same baby? I would say no. I would just say no. I don't believe it is. I don't believe really anything they say, to be honest. But if we're going to go by what we see, that could not possibly be Meghan, because Dorito, that cannot possibly be a 21-year-old woman. Just a random photo from Daily Mail. I said, this baby does not look like Roachel, in my opinion. And returned to work, Thomas Sr. made a lot of money. Because they say Bonnie baby, a chubby, Roachel. I got him. I don't like saying her name. Sorry, guys. At a few months old. Since Dorito had to return to work for financial reasons, soon after the birth, it meant Roachel spent much of her infancy in the care of her grandmother. First of all, Dorito would not have had to go back to work. They had enough money. I believe Thomas Sr. was making $200,000 a year back then, and that was a lot of money. So I think we all know where Dorito was back and forth, because she went to the clink more than once, you guys, right? Like, so, the first time was for taxes, and the other time was for, some of that, the drink Coca-Cola there. Yes, that's it. So anyway, now she's spent much of her infancy in the care of her grandmother. Really? Well, isn't that interesting? Why would she not have invited any of these people to her wedding? Really? And I maybe the grandmother has passed. I think maybe. But that does not mean that there wasn't aunts and uncles in her life throughout, right? As what they've told us, right? But if you look at that child, doesn't even look like the child that they say is Roachel. And the child has straight hair. How is that possible? Yeah, I don't think it's Roachel. Just going through a couple things about the family, because it's time now that I believe anyway that we make some real decisions, common sense decisions about this family, right? And Dorito is part of this family. And how did 9 mil get into her account? Really? So I showed you guys this before as well, but it needs to be brought up again because they're using this as her, I don't know, a graduation, a high school stewardess, yoga, social worker, business owner, travel agent, old age homes, etc. Who knows? It says class of 74. And they put it with the social work stuff. Now, first of all, in 74, if she was born in 56, she would have been 18. I don't think she would have graduated anything except high school. And even that's an if, a big if. And there she is, but where is she? She's at Roachel's, what do I call it? Her faux wedding there in Jamaica. Because I know for a factual that you cannot get married, but two citizens of one country can't go to another country and get married. Not in the States or Canada anyways. They have to get married before, and then they go for, well, it's just a pretend wedding, really. So that's all that was. That's all that was. Because this comes from, Pinterest? Something like that. Doriaragland, American social worker, professional, Roachel, Dust of Sussex's mother. And I said, why is this picture used for Dorito's social work grad? What? Wasn't that in 2018? Why is this picture of her grad of 74 photo? If she graduated anything. And then if they think that she's supposed to look 18, absolutely not. And if they're saying, back in the day, well, she wasn't a social worker back in the day, and she certainly wouldn't have graduated at 18 at social work back in the day. So this was extremely interesting from BBS, and it shows her license as an associate clinical social worker, okay? But it was canceled, you guys, in 2021. Why? If she got in 2018, why only 3 years? Why? That doesn't make any kind of sense, does it? But then, did she need it just to get that fake old folks home that they, are faking that she runs or whatever, or did, or who knows? Where the hell is Dorito? She's disappeared. It's because the ship is sinking and the rats are leaving. That's why. So remember, this chapter is about the Markles and their lies and that, right? So anyways, I had read this before, but I will again. If the story of Doria's early life are true, she had at least 1 or 2 babies when she was very young that got adopted. So Roachel has half-siblings somewhere in the U.S. apart from the Markle ones. That would make for a very interesting reveal if those children made themselves known now. It would, wouldn't it? Because I'm telling you guys, if that isn't Roachel in that picture where she looks like she's 12, because I don't give a shit what anyone says, she doesn't look more than 14, then it's one of these kids. Another snippet about Dorito. She was pretty enough and she had a lot of boyfriends and they were all older than her. There were rumors about her affair with a high school teacher. The consequence of this was early pregnancy and childbirth. The child was placed in foster care. See, I would believe this because that child, either it was in the hospital and they took the baby then, Or I don't know what. I just know in my gut that is not either Roachel or Dorito at that age. There's not a chance in hell. That is common sense. If it doesn't make sense, it isn't sense. So this also ties into what I believe, my personal opinion, about what Thomas Sr. is trying to hide. The fact that he was 35 or however old he was, and Dorito was way underage, you guys. I mean, I read you the last one about Thomas Jr. talking about his dad going to Thailand and all that for young girls and stuff. And you know what I'm saying. So now we'll get to Samantha. I don't have a lot on her. I didn't dig deep on her. Last time I showed you where she said she was 14 when Roachel came home. So that would have meant that, because they said she was 17. Yeah. So it says Roachel's sister, Samantha, has verified that Roachel had a child at 17 and that she had a hysterectomy at some time. I don't have all the dates. And yes, that's all out there. It's just been scrubbed. I've tried to find it, but I've showed you what my results were. And if something's been scrubbed, there's a reason, right? I believe anyway. So I also have one more thing about Samantha. And I'm going to put it in this chapter, even though it has to do with the next chapter, just because this is about the family. Okay, this is from a couple of years ago. There are a number of new measures of her age that have not been scrubbed. Sumi has recently reported a document sent to her by early friends of Meg Stubb that show her at 46. I had assumed she was 44. Sam answered about 2 years ago that she didn't care what her sister said about her age. I don't care what age she is. I only give a damn because it's another lie. I think she has been 40 for 2 years now, but I can concede on this easily because, well, I'll give her a mulligan. Was she fertile? Don't think so, but other than other options, legal proof of age would be of some significance. So this is all I have on Sam. Like I said, I didn't go into it, but what I did want to show is that Samantha also is hiding stuff for her sister, but I don't believe necessarily it's for her sister. I personally believe, and I'll tell you soon that I have another story, that the kids, Sam and Thomas Jr. at least, are doing this for their father. That's my belief, because he's the one who has secrets. One of them might very well be that he's not the biological father of Roachel. I'm not sure on that, of course, but wouldn't surprise me. So I noticed something odd about Thomas Markle Jr.'s his channel, you guys. Since they got that money from Lady C, he hasn't put anything up. It's been over a month, which is very bizarre. Very bizarre. The lives a month ago, and the videos are a month ago. So this is Thomas Jr. with the letter he wrote Harry before they got married. Now, I have read out this letter previously in a couple of videos ago, so I'm not going to do that. But what I did want to say is in that letter, he was very adamant about what Roachel was like, right? And how they should get away and all this other stuff, right? And it's just so very odd because he's been pretty consistent with how he's felt about her and stuff like that. But there are still a couple of porcupines, I guess, that are still being out there. And one of them is her age. But I had heard something, you guys. Somebody told me, like I can't tell y'all, but I'm just going to say, and we can choose to believe it or not. We don't know, okay? This is all conjecture, alleged, and all of that. But that Junior doesn't want to be involved in this and is being forced to. I don't know what forced means, and I don't know what it all entails. But that he's not happy with having to continually basically lie. So I think maybe that's why he's drawn back. I mean, there's a lot of criticism right now about them and senior and the money and all of that. And I really hate saying this, but I feel it to be true. And I will only be honest with you guys. I think maybe Lady C's backed the wrong horse. That's just my opinion. I have a couple more screenshots courtesy of BP Dinah's show. And this one, she interviewed him and he goes, but here again, that's also, Roachel is here again, I think, playing some pity cards and playing the black card. I've read this one out before, but I'll do it again just because it's showing us stuff. P. Dinah again. What do you believe about the theories or the rumors about her having a surrogate, not really having the children physically? Well, the bottom line, I know for a fact that she had frozen her eggs and had planned to come back. And she come back to get her eggs. I'm assuming she had artificial. P. Dinah asks, physically she had Archie herself with her frozen eggs, maybe? He says, I guess, yeah. Okay, this doesn't even make sense to me. This is what I think, you guys. I think that regardless of who she is and whatever, I think that Thomas Markle Sr. wants to go down as some sort of royal children's grandfather. And that's what I truly think. How he treats his other grandchildren, the kind of person he is. He was part of Hollywood for 15 years or whatever. He's gotten awards, everything. There's stuff he knows and does that he shouldn't have. And that, to me, is the facts. For me, this family's hiding stuff. Very much so. And I think we need to take our blinders off a little bit and just use common sense. Just common sense. That's it. That's all we need is just common sense. You know? All right, I still have the Patreon story, but I'm going to interject the commercials now. And then I think I'm going to roll it into the other chapter because this one's already over 20 minutes. So I wanted to thank you all for whoever went over to Faux Royal News and subbed to her. She's going to go far, guys. Look, she's already got 169 from having 5. I'm so proud of that, and I thank you so much. I'm going to play just half of her other video so that you guys can go over there and check out the second half of it. A little teaser, if you will. I'm going to do that for one of the commercials, so you'll get to see her wonderful work. But like I said, I'll just do half, and then you can go over and watch the second half and hopefully give her some support. Thank you, guys.
King Charles takes action after public call to remove titles from Montecito duo. In what could only be described as the royal equivalent of Oprah exclaiming to her studio audience that everyone gets a brand new car, His Majesty King Charles has decided to bestow noble titles to each and every commoner in the Commonwealth and beyond. Yes, you heard it right. Every single one of you is now a duke, a duchess, an earl, or a baron. It seems that a few citizens have already seized the day and selected their titles. Alfie, a local cashier at Tesco, now goes by the Earl of the Express Lane. Oscar, a local plumber, is now addressed as the Lord of the Leaky Loo. And let's not forget the delectable Trixie, an exotic dancer who showcases at the Pink Pony Club. Her patrons now refer to her as the Baroness of the Booty Bounce. And if you're an American, well, surprise, you too are now part of the upper crust. The King's proclamation comes in the wake of the latest round of royal scandals, commonly referred to on YouTube channels as the Sharkles debacle. Apparently, Prince Harry and Meghan Markle have managed to make the monarchy about as appealing as rotten beans on moulded toast. In a stroke of genius, or perhaps just sheer desperation, King Charles has decided the best way to smooth things over is to hand out titles like they're going out of style. In a recent radio broadcast, King Charles remarked, "It appears certain developments have led most of our subjects to lose faith in the crown." Translation: the public has had its fill of the Montecito duo and their antics, and the king has decided it's time to take matters into his own hands. Then came the stunning announcement. To restore balance and ensure that everyone feels equally important, we've decided to let every Tom, Dick and Harriet choose their very own title. The king proclaimed that everyone in the realm and beyond is now noble, a welcome member of the British royal family, and even included in the line of succession. The power
to say this, I feel fantastic. Why I feel fantastic? Because it seems the public are on the same mindset as me. Here's the thing. People out there that think are the best thing since sliced bread. Well, I'm glad you think that, because you're in the minority. You're in a group called delusional idiots. That's the group you belong to. We don't want you here.
Do you see how racist he is towards me?
It is evident he is jealous of us.
You do not belong in the UK. You've disrespected the country. You've disrespected the nation. You've disrespected the veterans community, and you have exploited people for far too long.
Don't forget the kids. I really like to pull on those heartstrings.
You did a lot of things, and people don't want you.
Don't listen to him. We will put out more misinformation and get more bots to intimidate people. We still own the world as long as we are in the headlines. This guy is just a hater.
No, you do not own everything. We have now put a stop to wokeism.
My husband has a lot of money that I am wasting to spread my propaganda.
And there is more money we are grifting from our foundation. How do you think we pay for our private jet? We are very fortunate that it's the intellectually challenged people who believe the false media and fake image we are selling. Without their donations, my wife's lifestyle and facade would be impossible to maintain.
We are much loved members of our own little family, and the people we are paying to kiss our asses. Didn't you hear the loud cheers for us today?
You were booed. You were booed. The world heard it. You're booed in the country that you once said you loved.
Mr. Colt, we have arrived at your destination.
Fuck off.
Call Sunflower Stinks and tell them we would like to upgrade our crisis management service package to Platinum. We need our victimhood saturating the U.S. media to erase the events from this trip.
Again, we're here. Very quick, very effective.
All right, guys, chapter 2. It's a biggie. I will be getting that Patreon story in as well. I'm not sure how much ACO water cooler gossip I will have, if any. This is more important, but I will try my best. All right, legitimate proof. Roachel is not the age she says. And it's her father, his lies, who sink her. So quickly, we'll go through this. Her CV. Apparently, Roachel has been subjected to criticism of her real age. These other people claim she was 37 when she married H, but notice that when she got divorced with Trevor at the age of 35 in 2013. I have talked about this before, you guys. This whole time, it was sitting right there in front of our face. August 4th, 1981, 37 years old. Now, that would be impossible. That would be impossible. Okay? So I wrote up there, 2013 minus 37 would be 1976. Yeah. But it would actually be 1975 because this was before her birthday. She would have turned 38 the next month if she was born in August. So guys, I know everybody's seen TRG and I'm so happy that she's finally validating everything I've been saying forever now. But the main thing for me is that everything I believe, but I think she has the year off. I've always believed anywhere from 75 to 77. I have something else that's coming and it's going to give more proof, but this is just a small little thing because it says 37 years old on it and it has this whole time. We've all been focusing on the supermodel and the Caucasian part, not the age down there. How did we miss that? Roachel's fashion failsafe. The video quotes what it describes as a Twitter message, which it says refers to Roachel as Pinocchio. Oh my God, do you realize that she's revealed her true age? Pinocchio is stated in the document. You have shown that she was 2 years old when Samantha was 15 years when she moved to the other side of town, which means there's a 13-year gap between them. Samantha, born in 64, is 57 years old today. Pinocchio's 13 years younger. That little slip-up means Pinocchio's 44 years old. Gotcha. This was a couple years ago, something like that. The video goes on to cite another tweet which suggested the document in question was an email containing the facts she wanted former Kensington Palace Communications Secretary Jason Knopf to go over with the authors of Finding Freedom. The narrator added, people believe she's lying about her age so she doesn't seem too much older than her husband, who's 38. Is it possible that Roachel is 45 years old? In theory, it could be because she has enough money to pull off a lie like that. Remember that. She might not, but there is big money behind her pulling this off. Okay, this is it, guys. This was a 2-day thing. Okay, the news. Roachel gets mixed race tag because of Thomas Markle. Father flaunts. Roachel's birth certificate was changed by Thomas Markle. Roachel gets mixed race tag because of her father. Now, what does this all mean? A CDC document explains that when Ms. Markle was born, the rule was that if one parent was white, the child would be assigned the race of the other parent. It wasn't until after 1999 that more than one box could be ticked when identifying the race of a newborn in an attempt to clear up the confusion caused by forcing parents to make an inaccurate choice. That's very important, okay, you guys? So you're going to have to stick with me here. Okay, he said it wasn't until not after 1999, right, that there would be one box that could be ticked when identifying the race of a newborn, that there, more than one. And before that, they were forced to make an inaccurate choice. Well, let's go on. This is Willie Lewis Brown Jr. He's an American politician. He's a member of the Democratic Party. He served as mayor of San Francisco from 1996 to 2004, the first African-American to hold that office. He was instrumental in changing a law about ethnicity on birth certificates. California's new birth certificate law, a model for the nation. Here's just some of the bills that Willie Brown was involved in getting passed. Now, if you look down, it'll say the Assembly Bill number 2152, birth certificates 1977 until 1980. That is extremely important. Okay, so this bill is long and lengthy, but that's not what I'm going to do to you guys. I've highlighted the important things, and I have gone over this bill many times. I have a sister. She's an attorney. I know some stuff, so I just put it there in case anyone wanted to screenshot it, and then I'm going to blow up the parts that I have put under highlighting. Okay, so it's an individual's right to privacy must be counterbalanced with the needs of society to have the information from the birth registration system. So, several years ago in this journal, Milton Terrace advocated removal of race from vital and health statistics. Race, he said, is an anachronism, reflecting our heritage of racial segregation. It is indefensible, on scientific grounds and has not been useful to epidemiologists. Sorry, guys. Much more useful would be occupation and religion as indicators of socioeconomic status or specific behavior important to epidemiologists. Sorry. The debate on race was reenacted before the California legislature last year during consideration of a bill to regulate the California Certificate of Live Birth. The bill was introduced by San Francisco's powerful Assemblyman Willie Brown, who I introduced you to, and was supported by certain groups advocating women's rights in the defense of civil liberties. So stop right there. Even if Thomas Markle Sr. would have been involved, he couldn't have been involved. This was who was involved with getting that changed, because he brags that he was the one to get it changed. Okay. In its original form, the bill would have reduced the certificate to only those facts necessary to establish the fact and circumstances of birth, with no information on race and no medical or health data. As finally adopted, the law completely revises the certificate. The law prescribes the questions to be asked and specifies that answers to certain questions are optional. Optional questions include race and occupation of the mother and father. Questions for which an answer is required include most, but not all, of the other information requested on the present standard certificate of live birth. So that was optional. Here is the second page. So you can screenshot if you like, and I will get to the other spots. Not included are questions on education, APGAR score, induced terminations, number of prenatal visits, or marital status. Only those questions specified in the law are permitted, with questions relating to drug or alcohol abuse specifically prohibited. Prohibited. Oh my God, you guys. It's prohibited, I know this. On the bad side, we think, is that questions on race and occupation are voluntary. At this point, it's impossible to predict how many mothers will elect to not answer those questions. If the number is substantial, California will be the only state in the union that cannot provide information on infant mortality rates by race, or reproductive rates by race, or other questions of importance to health planners. This one didn't have anything of importance to us, but it is imperative that I am transparent. So it's there for you to screenshot till we get to the next one. This one's pretty much the same, just a little bit on the bottom. These are all the references, and they're in 79, 78, 73, 73, 3, 74, 44, 77, 78, 78. So these are the references that went into this new bill. So what does this mean? The Assembly Bill number 2152, Birth Certificates 1977 to 80, specifies that only the minimum content necessary to establish the fact of birth shall be on the certificate. Since 1979, information on the race and ethnicity of the father and mother has been reported voluntarily on the birth certificates, usually by a parent. This information is more consistent for the mother than for the father, being one of the reasons births are classified by the mother's race, ethnicity. Live births by mother's race, ethnicity, and age, city of Berkeley. So it was the mother's race that is on there, and that's also voluntary. Do U.S. birth certificates show race? Birth certificates in the United States include the race and Hispanic origin of the mother and father, but not the child. How is race determined on a birth certificate in California? Race and Hispanic origin reporting. These data are obtained from the NCHS because the information collected on birth certificates does not specifically include the race and Hispanic origin of the child. It must be inferred, usually from the race and origin of the parents. What are the race options for birth certificates in California? For the purpose of this analysis, 5 mutually exclusive race ethnic categories are presented: African American, Asian Pacific Islander, Latino, white, and other multi-race, with up to 3 options, which was introduced in the California birth certificate in 2000. Latinos may be of any race. So after 2000, it had 5 different categories that a mother can use. It's live births by mother's race. Okay. So race and Hispanic origin are reported independently on the birth certificate, and mothers of Hispanic descent are further classified by race because the majority is reported as white. Since 1979, information on the race and ethnicity of the father and mother has been reported voluntarily on the birth certificates, usually by a parent. This information is more consistent for the mother than for the father, being one of the reasons births are classified by the mother's race and oh my God, you guys, I've been saying it too much. So, okay, in the bottom was what I just showed you guys in the, what I just read to you, the 5 different categories that they voluntarily can use. And one right there is other and multi-race. And that's after the year 2000. But before that, they didn't have anything like to classify it so much. However, it wasn't needed. There was never, ever, ever a time that the baby's race was needed. What's the difference between a live birth certificate and a certificate of live birth in California? The certificate of live birth simply verifies that you're medically alive, whereas the birth certificate verifies who you are, who your parents are, where you were born, and your date of birth. Without your birth certificate, you cannot prove who you are. This can cause many problems for yourself. It does not say race. No mention that race is required here either on the birth certificate. So this is a different one, okay? But this information includes name, sex, date, place of birth of the child, parent's name, and the place of birth and occupations. Certificates for births registered between 1st of April 69 do not show the parent's place of birth, and those before 84 do not show parent's occupation. So in front of you is Obama's birth certificate, 1961. This one says father's race African, mother's race Caucasian. No race is given for the child. And it's not. There is no race given for the child. This one's from LA, 1963. So that's before 81. And what I have highlighted is the ethnicity of the mother. A sample of a live birth of LA, absolutely no race of any kind on it. An online state of California birth certificate, no race. Example of a live birth certificate, no race. Once again, this is Willie Brown, him is a little bit older. Instrumental in getting this bill passed from 77 to 80. That's how long it took. And all it was basically so that the mother doesn't have to identify as anything. But never once was there a spot for the child. Nowhere. So he's full of it. He's absolutely full of it. So I'm not sure what he is trying to say. But there's no way she was born in that year. No, he did not fight in 81 to get a different race on her birth certificate. That's ludicrous. This proves that that was not a thing. It might have been if he put the right year. Maybe he did cause a stink, which wouldn't surprise me. But it wouldn't have been in 81, my fella folks, fella friends, because in 81 there would be no reason to. He didn't like the fact that Doria would have to put black and then it would be inferred, just inferred, of the child. But there is no race for the child. So he's full of shite. And like I said, after 81, there wouldn't even have been a need to do that whatsoever. So completely crap. This is important too for anyone who says they have her birth certificate. Our birth certificate's public info in California. No, you generally cannot look up someone else's birth certificate. Birth records are considered private and confidential information. Now, I know you can get a copy, but you have to be part of the family, I believe, to do that. And if I am mistaken, it doesn't matter because I've shown you this before, but I'll read it again. And these are the truth about Roachel and Dorita's birth certificates from someone I trust and somebody who knows about this stuff. It has been very interesting trying to get info on that bitch's birth certificate. I was looking into it without FOIA to try to stay off the radar. Nothing can be found on her. Her mother, nothing. I had my friend who was a genealogist try to start a family tree under the guise of building a royal family tree for history purposes. This is what she does for a living, so she knows ways to get things. Nothing. Since I've been searching and asking and trying, weird things have been happening. Bank account was locked down after fraud attempts out of England, no less. I won't go further. So I did try. Note, they're locked up. And why is Doritos locked up, you guys? How old is Dorito? Really? They are hiding something. We all know it. We all know the whole life's a sham. It's fake. But obviously there are truths in their lives. Of course there are. It's what's true and what's not, and why did they do this and why didn't they? Now in my Patreon, I do go into who is behind this and why it's been done. However, I won't here, but I will share that Patreon story, and I'll share it in the gossip chapter, so we have a couple commercials. I don't want to rip you guys off. That's another thing I wanted to talk about just real quick. Someone had said to me about making my show smaller. Well, here's the thing, guys. First of all, YouTube takes my stuff sometimes for, last time it was 36 hours, so I have no idea when this will get out to you. I always have my stuff done, and then I find all the other YouTubers do it, and mine's just waiting. Drives me crazy. But that aside, there, I thought I'd put something interesting to look at, a little giggle that I made. I asked people, I can... first off, I also don't make my shows every day, right? So it's not a daily thing. I consider myself putting on a show for you guys. It's not just a little video. I actually put on a show as much as I can with what I have and make it interesting and fun. I asked someone if they wanted me to. I could take out all the commercials and all of that stuff, and then you would get your 30-minute video, right? Or 35 minutes, whatever. Because if I take commercials and the fun stuff out, that's what I would get. And that's it. Let me know if that's what y'all want. Because other than that, there's no way I can get all the commercials and the funnies and everything in along with the information. Does that make sense? So I hope it does. I also always tell people you can always watch it in parts. I try to make what my shows something that are a little bit, you can watch them forever. I hope that they'll be, timeless to a certain extent forever. So, okay, let's just get to a couple commercials real quick, and then we will finish it off with my story and see what time I have left for anything else.
It was hard having to be royal. First thing they did was sit me down, and they told me that I couldn't wear crop tops. I said what any American would say. I shop at Forever 21. When I was a little girl, I used to go to this place in Los Angeles to eat called Poquito Mas. It's a little Mexican place. I liked the one in Pasadena. When I arrived in London, naturally as an American, I asked the Queen, where is the nearest Poquito Mas? And I thought, I'm giving up a lot to be in this family.
All right, Eco water cooler gossip chapter, guys. And then I have a Sam, so we'll see how much I can get in here. Also wanted to say I have not forgot about the bee magic. It's still there. Anything I can't fit into this one, I'm going to put with my next one with the bee magic, I promise. And then whatever else I have, but that will definitely go in there because, yeah, I promised it to you guys. I just really needed to bring this other info to you. Okay, so it's kind of tinfoil hat category, but not really when you start looking at things. So this was from an MSM article, you guys. Let's just see what it says. Did MM steal Lauren Foster, founder and CEO of the now defunct Stretch Recipes, identity? Allegedly, Lauren Foster, who ran her own recipe company called Stretch Recipes and is also Black, was approached before to play this role into fame and fortune, but turned it down, saying she liked Harry. Sounds like a decent person, but what if she hadn't liked him? So what I would like to ask is, how do people find out about this kind of information? Wouldn't the people who approach Miss Foster be the same backers that tapped into Roachel's greed? So couldn't she just say who they are? To be honest, this story always seemed odd, but if true, I am sure she had chats with authorities at some point. Not necessarily, but I don't know. This is Lauren Foster. She is known for her tech startup grocery and recipe app Stretch Recipes. She was well on her way to being very successful, but shortly after Harry and Meghan's royal wedding, Stretch Recipes tanked, and there are signs that point to something more sinister than just a fleeting business venture. Lauren went public around the time of Harry and Meghan's engagement, claiming she was propositioned by backers here in the U.S. Lauren is from Texas, asking her if she would be interested in marrying a prince and playing a game. This game involved essentially ruining Harry and the rest of the royals. These backers, who aren't identified, wanted Lauren to pretend to fall in love with Harry, marry him, and then purposely sabotage his life. Lauren didn't give it a second thought. She turned down the offer, claiming to care about Prince Harry and that she couldn't do that to him. Enter Lauren claims that Roachel hastily volunteered for the job without a second thought. Lauren hints that Roachel stole her identity by starting to dress like her, act like her, and look like her. Even the roasting chicken comment during the engagement interview was a subtle nod to Lauren, as her Stretch Recipe business specializes in roasted chicken. Isn't that odd, you guys? We all thought it was Corey. Maybe it wasn't. This all seems so bizarre to me. Who are these backers? Why did they approach a biracial Texan woman before Roachel stole the gig? And why are they trying to sabotage the royal family? This is back in 2019, you guys. Her company, Stretch Recipes, tanked shortly after all of that. I'm not surprised, and I'm guessing Roachel had something to do with it. They needed to silence her, and the only way to do that was to make her irrelevant so people wouldn't believe her. Well, I believe her, someone says. Yeah, because she won a contest and everything with her recipe. She was going really good, and then nothing. Lauren posted this to her social media account around the time of the royal wedding. It has since been deleted. She insinuates that something more sinister is going on behind the scenes where Roachel's concerned. We knew that already, though. I found myself really considering the possibility that Harry and the other royals are genuinely being blackmailed by Markle and her backers. Cough, Obama's Clintons, cough, Soho House, Marcus Anderson, cough, cough. I'm convinced. It leads back to E. Oh, I didn't put a line through that one, darn. Because what are the odds that all of Meghan's backers have connections to E and she doesn't? Yeah, not a chance. And this was Lauren's post. Has anyone ever questioned why Roachel picked a black bishop from Chicago, of all places? She's from LA and lived in Toronto. Were there not any qualified religious men in the whole of England or back home in LA? Was she going to church in Toronto? Why the interest in Chicago and black bishops? Did she think she was Lisa from Coming to America? No. She was too busy trying to troll the royal family and paint them as racist at every turn without any awareness of content, of character. She showed her character when she worked to paint him as a fool and politician. Royals aren't politicians, you dummy. You can't conveniently pick up black people like a hat and shoes and choose to lose your wedding tan at a garden party the next day. You are who you are 24/7, and you just showed your true colors through your actions from day one. This girl is dangerous and makes race a convenience rather than a reality. If the shoe fits and hers don't ever fit for good reason, gaslighter. Sorry, not sorry, royal wedding, da-da-da. Wow. So you guys, what do you think of that? Now that you know what you guys know from TRG and everything, I thought this would be a good time to actually bring this to y'all. To show you some of the stuff I have in Patreon. Truly, I believe her. Because I know other stuff too, right? So I believe her. I do. But it looks like I'm not going to have time for the blinds, which is sad because I have one. That's okay. No big deal. We'll do it next time. Sometimes I have other things that are much more important I find that I need to say. And this was one of them. I'll share one little thing and then we'll do the Sam. According to royal expert Neil Sean, Catherine, Princess Catherine, offered to take personal portraits of baby Archie, along with other professional UK-based photographers. However, Roachel declined this gesture for reasons unknown. The significance of Catherine's offer lies in the fact that it was a special gesture from the now Princess of Wales to Meghan during her first childbirth experience. I say, what a true POS Roachel is, piece of shit. Oh my God. Well, I will miss the giggles, but I will be laughing with you with Sam. And the last time, you guys, that wasn't me with the weird, Sam looked kind of yellow and stuff. It was on him that time. I'm like, what? But okay, thank you so much. I'm glad I could get this out to you guys. I have worked on this stuff forever and a day, and I do have a lot of my stuff in Patreon if y'all want to check that out. It's in my description. Okay, I will see you in the next one. I will do that other part of the magic, and I'll do this blind and the other stuff I have. I promise you. I promise you. I don't know if this will get out to you in time, but I have a live on the 1st at 2:45 p.m. so Mountain Standard Time. So I hope anybody who can makes it. We will really love to have you there. Okay, guys, I will talk to you later. Let's enjoy Sam. And yeah, I will see you in a bit. Okay, bye.
You are now, quite surprisingly, ruling out the idea of suing the creators for as much money as you possibly can. But reports have surfaced that the spoof has raised tensions so high that you two are bickering with each other. Yeah, well, stress is stress. And even love affairs have their fair share of bickering. No, we're not bickering. What do you mean we're not bickering? What was that last night then? Eagles barking at each other? No, we haven't been bickering. No, she's right. No, we haven't been bickering. No, not at all. Oh, clearly. There have been times when I've needed to tactically correct Harry, when he's had some missteps in his mind, of which there must be many. Yeah, loads, yeah, it's a real mess in there. Oh, correcting me, were you? Huh? Yeah. Do you really think that's appropriate? If required, yes. Oh, if required. Oh, did you hear that, Cobalt? If required. Well, that's very good of you to get up in my old attic and give things a go, sweep and a tidy up there. Very good, thank you. Yeah, well, someone has to. Somebody has to. Harry, please, enough, okay? Recently, I've been telling you, I can't have you acting like a 12-year-old. Acting like you're 12. Would you two like some private time to iron out these creases? No, we're absolutely fine. Yeah, we're spectacular. It's just that ever since that episode of South Park, I've been noticing a few more things, in Harry that just, irritate me. Like how he randomly breaks into one of those songs that he writes. I'm gonna get what... and it's not really the irritating things. It's like, he could have just handled this whole thing better, our whole exit from the royal fold, so that we were, taken more seriously afterwards and weren't, relentlessly mocked. Oh, could I? Oh, apparently, Cobalt, I could have handled things slightly better during Megxit. Well, proof's in the pudding, Harry. The internet is rife with parodies of us. And now South Park come along and take our humiliation into an even bigger scale. And with ruthless efficiency. Yeah, and then there was that book you wrote, Spare, with all those details you shouldn't have included. You told me to write most of that stuff. Yeah, and that documentary kind of backfired. Yeah, that was your idea too. That's why we've got all those videos and recordings that we were doing whilst we were still pretending to be good faith members of the royal family. Listen, Harry, I'm getting a little bit tired of your attitude. You're answering back. Oh, did you hear that, Cobalt? Meghan here was getting a little bit tired. I'm serious now, Harry. Do you want me to take your mobile phone away from you again? Is that what you want? No? Do you want me to start spending even more time with Gordon Getty? No, Megan, no, please, no. We'll make more money, I promise. Remember, Harry, no one's too wrinkly. Yeah, and normally, the wrinklier the skin, the weaker the heart.